Hi, my name is Chelsea Turek, and I'm the head stitcher at my college theater department. And this year I'm going to go to my first Comic-Con, which is NebraskaCon. And I wanted to go as Shimi Moriyami from the anime Blue Exorcist. And when I went online, I found that the tutorials were not very good. There was one where a guy was just measuring a kimono for 6 minutes, and he didn't do anything to it. And then there was one where they're like, oh, sorry, I missed like 3 steps. And then there was the last one, which was pretty good, except it wasn't done in the traditional kimono yukata fashion, and that kind of bothered me. So I wanted to make a video that's not just for Shimi Moriyami, but if you're making a yukata kimono. When I looked up online how much a Shimi Moriyami costume cost, it said it was about $120. Altogether, I think all these materials cost less than $60. For the tie-dye kit, you only need blue. You don't need the other colors. And for the markers that are coming up, you can either get iron-ons or markers. I wanted markers because I wanted the exact flowers that are on Shimi's dress. But you can do whatever that you want. Now you can buy a kimono pattern online, which can run up to $12 to $25, or you can make your own pattern, which is what we'll be doing today. And I got most of this pattern from Miso Cosplay on YouTube.com. So cite your sources, and that's what I'm doing. So draw these various steps on your big piece of paper. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take the widest part of your body, that measurement, and then you're going to cut it in half. So mine is 38.5, so in half that's 19.25, which I'm just going to make that 19. And so you go across your paper and you measure 19 or whatever half of your biggest part of your body is. That'll either be your chest or your hips. Mine are my hips. And you will go all the way down the paper with that measurement. So yeah, let's get to it. You'll go down the long way of your paper and you'll measure that. So you will create a line that will connect those two together. So these little dashes that you made, you'll connect them. All right, the next step will be finding the midpoint in between your paper. So this part, which was your bodice, you're going to find halfway. So mine was 38.5 hips, and then I took that in half, which is 19.25. Now I'm taking that in half, and that is 9.6. So I will go 9.5 about, measure that in the middle, and make the midpoint all the way down the paper, and then we'll make a line that way. So what you'll need now is half of your neck circumference. So the entire measure of your neck, cut that in half. So mine was 13, cut that in half, 6.5. And then on the top part here, you want to find where that exact middle is. So figure that math out. Mine was like 6.33, and then it was 6.5 and 6.3 to make that all even out. So yeah, you'll mark those two edges. Boop. Boop, boop. All right, so what we're going to be doing next is whatever half of your neck measurement is. I know, so many halves. Just deal with me. So take half of that and then put it down here on the bottom right hand of your measurement there. Mine is 3 inches. 3. And then what you're going to do is, if you look back on your neck measurements on the top, you'll see there's a left point and a right point. Connect your left point to that little mark that you made, the little collar mark. All right, this is the top half of the pattern that we're making. And what you're going to do is you're going to cut it from this diagonal line, and only the diagonal line. That is all you are cutting. Do not cut any more than this. Also, I labeled them top, top, so that way you can remember what you are doing. So yeah. And if you are new at this, fabric scissors and paper scissors are different. If you cut with paper scissors and then try to cut fabric, it actually won't cut as well because paper makes scissors dull. So be sure you use 2 different scissors. So now we're going to be doing the back half of your top. So you'll be doing the same exact steps of the first couple of things. And that's where you'll include your neck measurement up there. You'll do that again. So 6.5, boop, boop. And then it'll be a little different this time. So, yeah. All right, so where your neck is, little neck measurements, you're going to measure 1 inch down. 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. You're going to connect those lines. And then I don't have a measuring tool, the little round scales, but I do have a DVD. So we're going to round out the edges. Cool. Make this a little darker. And then that will be your the back of your neck. So on the top half of your paper, this is all going to be the top half. You're going to do that armhole thing. So mine was 6 inches, if you remember. You're going to mark a line. You do the same on the other side. You don't have to flip it or anything because this is all the back. You don't have to cut it in panels or anything. So this is all good. Now you can go over it again with your marker. And then when you cut it out, you'll cut out the sides and then also the top half here where we did that little neckline. You're going to cut right there all the way around. All right, so now we're going to do the bottom half, the kimono part. Yay, the long skirt-ish part. And thing is, your paper might not be long enough, which is okay, because I know a way around it. So, on your paper, you're going to measure half of your hip circumference once more. So, do that together. Cool. And then what you'll do is your waist to your ankle. Now, you may have noticed my paper is not 40 inches long. So, I'm going to take half of it. So, 39.5, that will be your waist to ankle, so however long that is. Divide that in half, and you'll measure that. And then you'll connect those 2 lines at the top. Cool. Now, what I did on this side of the paper, I wrote fold in big letters, and we will get there. I'll talk about that when we get to cutting out the actual fabric. The last piece that we're going to cut out for the costume, for the kimono part anyway, is going to be the collar. So you will take your neck to waist measurement and cut it out. Sorry. You'll measure it. So mine is 16. Yeah, 16. So 12, 16. And then since mine just has a little slip left, I'll just make a line right there. And it depends how thick you want your collar, but I think I'm going to do mine. Let's do it one, let's do 2. The last part that we are measuring is now your sleeves. Woohoo! So you're going to take your shoulder to your wrist, once again, and you're going to measure all the way down the paper. And you can see, maybe, that I made some lines up here, so I'm going to connect them. And if you want your sleeves longer, I just did my entire sleeve width is going to be the width of my paper. That just makes it easier for me. But if you want yours longer, you're more than welcome to maybe stack these one against the other. Just flip it over on the fabric. And then you can make your sleeve longer if you want. So yeah. All right, now you can lay your fabric out. You see my 4 yards right here. And I laid it out on the hardwood floor. If you're going to cut out your fabric, don't do it on carpet because you can cut the carpet. Also, it won't lay down just quite flat. Before you lay it down on your hardwood surface or on your cabinet or whatever you want to do, make sure you clean it off first. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to fold this half of it so that your kimono bottom can fit on it. And you're going to want to leave a little edge here. This is for seam allowance, which I'll explain later, but basically the fabric can fray apart, so we need this for to make sure that the costume is safe. So you're going to lay down your kimono bottom like that, and the fold should go where the folded fabric is. Makes sense, huh? And then what you'll do next, you'll mark where that is with a pin. So we'll go get that in a bit. And then you can slide it down. And then you can see this part is the sleeve. It's upside down, the sleeve. And that's got its own little square. And then the kimono back is right here. And then this is one of the top halves. And what you're going to do is you're actually going to flip that over on the other side. So we'll go through that. We'll pin everything down and then we'll cut it out. Next, we are going to dye your sleeves and the bottom of your kimono with your blue tie-dye mixture stuff. Be sure that you dye it almost like pretty dark, so that when it washes out, you'll get the desired color that you want. I have some people spray paint. I've seen people spray paint their kimonos and clothes. I'm telling you now, it doesn't look good. It just doesn't look good. So you can go ahead and try spray painting if you're very good at it. But if you're new at it, I would suggest dyeing and not spray painting. And you need to keep your blue dye because you will need it for later. So keep your blue dye. All right, let's move on. You are dyeing your sleeves. Be sure that the open frayed side is the side that you dye. So if you want to make like a little mark, I haven't done that, but if you want to make a little mark and kind of keep track of where you are. And then here's my other sleeve as well. Again, frayed on the bottom, that's the side that you're dyeing. And then for the bottom of your kimono, just pick a side that you want to dye. What we have here is the dyed portions of our sleeves and our dress. You may notice that there's two colors here. What happened was I ran out of the dark blue, but then I still had light blue, so I was like, oh, why don't I just transition on the top there? Next step is going to be hemming. If you see these strange holes right here that's in your fabric, you don't actually have to hem or serge those. The fabric will be good. The reason you need to hem is because of these strings that are coming off on the edge of your fabric. Eventually the entire cloth will deteriorate, so you need to hem these or serge them. So you'll take your fabric and know which side is the right side and which side is the wrong side. The right side will be the typically the brighter colored side. So this is my duller side. I'm going to just fold that like that. I'm going to fold it one more time. Just like that. So that's rolled, and then all you have to do after that is just sew it down all the way around the parts that don't have those holes in them. The thing that you're going to do is make the top of your kimono. So you're going to get the back of the piece, which is this part with the collar, and then one of the top front sides. You're going to make it so the right sides face each other, like so. And then you'll pin it down, and then you'll sew it across, and you'll do this on the other side as well with the other half of the top. The next thing that we're going to make is your collar. So get your 2 pieces of pink fabric and also your white fabric. That's the same length. You just need 1 white fabric. And you'll actually hem these together. Just the 1 pink and then the white. You'll hem those together and then you'll hem the other one by itself. The next step is you're going to take both pieces of your collar and you're going to do right sides facing each other. And then you'll pin it down. And you'll sew all the way down one side and both the ends, this end and this end. But then on the other side, this side that you don't, you'll sew all the way down but leave a gap about 4 or 5 inches towards the end. After you've sewn it all down, you're going to cut the corners of your fabric, and then where that hole is in your fabric, that gap that you left, you're going to turn your collar inside out. And then with the corners, you'll probably need to jab them with a chopstick or a pencil or something like that to make the corners stick up correctly. After you've ironed, you're going to want to sew the hole shut with very little stitches, hand sewing wise. Once you have your collar done, you can get out your lace, and I had to cut mine to size, so you'll cut yours if you need to, and then you can sew it down the middle of your collar. next part is going to put the collar part on your shirt. So you're going to fold your collar in half, like so, and then you're going to place a pin right in the middle of that so you know where the exact middle of your cloth is. And you'll do the same with your shirt. So fold that in half, right in the middle, mark it with a pin, and then you're going to put the bottom of this lace to the top of your shirt, like so. And then you'll just pin that down and sew that in place. The next part will be your sleeves, which should all be dyed up by now. And take your white fabric that you should have cut for the inside of your sleeves. This is going to be your interfacing. So your sleeves are going to be more stiff because of that. That's why you also put one in your collar as well. So you'll line that on the inside with your fabric, and then once you're done with that, sew the two blue sides together. Alright, now your sleeve should be done, which should look something like this. And when you are done sewing, be sure that you iron down these seam allowance right here. That way your sleeve can lie flat. And the next thing you're going to do is connect it to your top. Yay, finally! So, find the top of your sleeve, which will be the non-blue part, of course. And you're going to turn your top inside out, so the seam allowance here should be seen. And the right sides of your sleeve and the right side of your kimono should be facing each other. And you can pin that all the way around, and then you'll sew those down. And then when you flip it inside out, it should be on the right side. Alright, the top of your kimono is almost done. It's looking pretty awesome. But what you'll do is on the left hand side, leave a hole big enough for your hand to come through it, because you'll need that later on when you are dressing yourself with your kimono. But otherwise, you can sew the rest of the sides down. The next step to make your kimono will be one of the last ones for making your yukata kimono, and that is putting on the skirt part, the long part. So all you're going to do is you're going to connect these two fabrics, right sides facing one another, just like that. Pin it all the way down, and then sew it, and then you'll be done with that. Alright, the next part is going to be your obi. So get out your dark blue fabric, and you see I have mine out here, and I measured it to 6 feet. So if you got 2 yards, it'll be exactly that size, but I bought 4 yards. So if you have 2 yards, this is the length that you need it. And then you're going to cut this whole fabric in half, because your obi needs to be at least 13 feet long, which is really long, but that's what we're going to do. So you're going to cut it exactly down the middle, and then you'll sew those two pieces together. The next thing you're going to do is get out your white fabric, and I cut mine to 2 yards, 6 feet long, and you're going to cut it down the middle as well, except you're going to use the top half for the middle of your obi as kind of interfacing. And then the other side, you're going to cut it along the fold right here. Going to cut it along the fold all the way down. And you're just going to use one of those sides for another part of the belt. After you've got done sewing your two blue pieces together, you'll need your white ones. And make sure that they're exactly in half all the way down your obi. And then you'll sew that white piece down to your blue. Alright, remember what we did with the collar where we turned it inside out and sewed it all the way down and then left a pocket at the end? That's what we're going to do here, except now it's going to be huge. So after your white part is sewn down like I have, you're going to connect these two sides together. And then once you've done sewing that down, except for leaving a little pocket at the end, you're going to cut the corners, turn it inside out, and then you'll do a little hand sew to fix up that hole at the end, and then you'll be done with this part. Alright, the last thing that you're going to do is you're going to draw on your obi the designs that are on Shimi Moriyami's kimono, which are these kinds of designs. They're actually called kaman or man, which are kind of like a family crest. They usually look like flowers or something. So that symbol on the back of Shimi's dress actually means that she is part of the Moriyami family. I tried drawing on marker with mine, but my fabric is too dark and my marker is too light. So I used some white fabric and I cut out the design and colored them in. And now I'm going to sew it on to my obi, and then my obi will be done. White fabric here, so you just need one of them. We'll just pick that one. And then you're going to dye this one blue. Remember how I told you to keep that blue dye? Well, now you're going to dye this entire thing blue. So this is the white fabric that I dyed blue, and it came out really well. I'm really proud of that. And so I'm going to roll hem it because you can see it's frayed pretty badly. And Alright, after your entire sheet is checkerboarded, just like mine, you're going to fold it in half to find the exact middle like we've done before. So fold. That's my middle. And then you're going to take your t-shirt or your pillow-like substance, whatever you chose, and put it in the middle. And then you're going to sew the sides around it shut. So I'm going to connect those and sew that shut. And then I'm going to sew this side shut, but I'm going to leave this side open in case I want my t-shirt back. I am going to actually use snaps, and I'm going to just sew one of these on there, so if I want to take it out in the future, I can. Now the last thing that you're going to do is you're going to put on your iron-ons and put on your flowers onto your dress, and you'll be done. Yay! Now I'm going to show you how to wear a kimono. Shimi wears a yellow shirt under her kimono, so I suggest that. Also, if you have a slip, I don't own one, so I'm wearing gym shorts, and also long socks. First thing we're going to do is we're going to adjust your kimono. So put your collar together, like so. And then on the back, you're going to hold it up until it's about ankle length. All the way up there. And once you've done that, hold up your kimono and go right over left several times to tighten it. And then leave right. You want your left panel to go over your right. The reason is for a few things. Usually when people had weapons, they would hold them on their right side of their body so they could hide them underneath the panels. So if you wear left over right, that's why you do it. If you're dead, they bury you right over left instead of left over right. So you're alive, wear it this way. Now we're going to tie it down with a string. I wear a string, so you're going to tie it around your body. And you're going to go left over right as custom in Japan. And you want that pretty tight. Alright. Maybe you notice this little baggie up here. So the little hole that you're supposed to leave, pull it through that hole, this right side, and tighten it. And now you'll get your other string and you'll tie that around your waist. Before you tie it down, be sure you pull down the back of your kimono because it's tradition in Japan to show off the back of your neck. So be sure that's pulled back, and that is over there. Again, left over right, and tie it down. And that can hang. So we'll cover that. We're going to take your obi and you're going to fold it in half, like so, and take it over your left shoulder, like this. And then you're going to wrap the obi around your body twice. All right. And then you can take this part out, your left side, and your both sides should be in your other hand. And you can actually tighten it by pulling. And then next, you're going to tie a string around that. So you're going to throw this up, around, and then you're going to tie a string. Now you're going to take your pillowy part and the end of your obi, clear at the end. You're going to sandwich that in, and then flop that over. Position it on your back. You can lean over, that'll help you tie that on. Again, left over right. And then you'll tuck that. Maybe. And then finally, we have our last string here. We still have your goofy little left part. So you're going to fold that like so. You're going to fold it back here underneath, so like so. Get your string. And tie it in the front. Tuck everything away. And congratulations, you now are wearing a kimono. Yay! 君と出会ったのはただの偶然じゃないこれを運命と呼ぶんだその瞳に映る僕たちが輝いていられるようにずっと見つめ続けていつの日も君に笑顔を絶やさない今ここで誓いたい You and me Please だからもしこの胸が道に迷う日